Coach, thanks for checking out this short video as we break down some practice plans. I think we want to get the most out of the time that we spend with our players in season and out. And it's always good to look at how we're designing our practices and see what little tweaks that we can make to improve. That's my hope with this short video as we go through, and I'll explain a little bit of how I look at breaking down a practice, some of the things to include within your practices. And then I'll show you a little bit of the back end of our site to give you some examples of what that might look like as well. I'm Steve Kramer. I'm the owner of Kramer Basketball and the founder of the Coach's Edge. Kramer Basketball started out and still is a player development program where we work with athletes and run camps and clinics throughout the United States, but especially in the Midwest and South Carolina, where I'm currently based. And the Coach's Edge is something that we debuted in 2020 to serve coaches around the country through our online resources, not just with player development, but overall program, big picture program development. And that's through coachsedge.coach. We have a handful of other coaches that are contributors to this site that really help, I think, make it very unique in the coaching space. So as we get into this presentation, I'll talk a little bit about what I think make high-level practices. And then again, we'll go to the back and I'll show you a little bit of some examples that our members get as well. But we always want to think about what each practice includes. And I think every good practice contains teaching, training, and competing, those three components. But with that said, I think that there should be a specific focus or goal for each practice. Is this going to be more of a teaching practice? Is it going to be more of a training practice? Is it going to be more of a competing-based practice? You know, if you have a high intensity game on a Tuesday, you got another game coming up on a Thursday, chances are that game between, if you want to save a little bit of legs, maybe that's going to be more of a teaching or training type practice. Maybe you're over Christmas break, you got a long break until you get that next game. We're going to throw in a lot of competing within those practices. But as you start to design your practice plans, I would also make sure that you're not putting all of your competing in one chunk of your practice, all the teaching and instruction in one piece of your practice, the training in another piece. We want these to be meshed. We want to really mix these in throughout the course of our practice. It's going to keep our kids more engaged. It's going to be more fun. And I think you're also going to see the intensity level of the players rise, because it's not, okay, a half hour straight of competing, and then it's a long time talking, everybody's standing around, they lose their sweat, they lose some of that energy, because you're using those teaching pieces real short, clear, concise, consistent, as we talked about, and then boom, we're back into our training or the competing aspect of our practice. When we think about what we're covering in practice, we really want to make sure we're understanding, well, what are the things that happen in a game? We want to practice what happens most. We want to, I always say, we want to strengthen our strengths. We want to improve upon our weaknesses, and we don't want to have any liabilities. So what happens in a game? You're going to be in one of these four areas: half-court offense, half-court defense, or transition offense and transition defense, right? It's a full or a half-court game. So are these things that we're practicing daily? And then based on those four areas of the game, what are some of the strengths and weaknesses that you have within your team? We want to continue to strengthen those strengths, but we also want to make sure that if there's a weakness and something we need to spend more time on, that we're dedicating time in practice to that specific area of the game. Now, as we think about practice, I like to think of it in different parts. So within a practice, there's usually some skill development. There's some of the breakdown, small-sided game type drills. You have your competing, your gameplay. It could be half court, it could be full court. And then there's time, especially when you're in season, in the thick of the season, where there's strategy, there's some game planning. Maybe you're putting in an offense, a defense. You're preparing for a 2-2-1 press that you're going to have to break on a Friday night. So these are all parts of your practice. But my recommendation for you is don't continue to block or bucket these into 20 or 30-minute intervals. I would ask yourself, if you're looking at this page right here, are there ways where we can have more than one of these parts in the same part of practice? Is there a way that we're reinforcing some of the strategy and the game planning that we need to work on during our skill development? Is there a way that as we're doing some small-sided games that it really complements the skill development? or it flows right into it. We just did something and we broke it down, we shared it, we showed it, we repped it, 1-on-0 or 2-on-0, and then boom, we're going right back into something that is maybe a little more variable or randomized practice, or we're just going live 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. It really helps us build into some of those breakdown drills that we have. And we want to keep in mind, as much as coaches like talking about X's and O's and strategies, and I'm a huge believer in building skills throughout the entire course of a season, we want to make sure that our kids are playing. That's why they came out for the team. They like basketball. They want to play. So make sure there is a lot of play within each practice. And the game teaches the game. So one of the best ways to learn and teach is for kids to still be able to play the game. And then, hey, quick soundbite of instruction, teach it, show it, share it, break it down if you need to, boom, and then we're right back in it and we're playing some more. As we finish out this short presentation, and then I'll show you a little bit of the website and how we share some of this with our coaches, we want to make sure that we're reinforcing the skills of the game. Always. It comes back to that. So your 5 basic skills of the game: shooting, ball handling, defense, passing, and rebounding. Are there at least pieces of that within every single practice? Because from a skill standpoint, that's what happens every single game. So make sure we're reinforcing those things to our kids. That's what we need to be able to do at a high level on game day. Now, coachsedge.coach is our resource site. That's what I'm going to take you to right here. If you have questions, follow me on Twitter, Steve21Kramer. Some of our other social media sites are there as well. We love connecting with coaches, whether they're local in South Carolina or based throughout the country. We do a ton of work up in the Midwest as well. And as we continue to work with our coaches, our website is something that we are always building. We are always continuing to grow, to develop, and continue to improve and make it better. So as I show you the inside of the Coach's Edge right here, I really want to talk about our specific topic on this episode, which is some of our practice plan. So I'm inside our dashboard, and I'm under the area of program development right now. And these are all different videos that we have to help coaches break down some of their program. But if we go to practice plan concepts, this is a PDF that's going to open up. As you can see right here, it's not in the detail that our presentation just went in, but again, it's just a simple reminder of some of the things that we've talked about within practice plans and how we can get the most out of the time that we spend with our kids. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, go into a little more detail, that's where you can click on some of our full practice plan presentations, where it gives you a full, complete video breakdown where we talk about layering, progressions, loading, different types of things that we can work on with our players and with our program. And all of these are uploaded into the Coach's Edge membership site to help you create the most effective practices that you can. Because the bottom line is, with our practices, that's where we're with our players the most. And so I think those practices are sacred. Those are vital times that we can really make some gains, because when it's game time, not a whole lot of control that we have as coaches as far as what happens out on the court. But we do have a lot more control over what we are working on, the accountability and the standards that we set for players when they're working hard in practice. And it also allows us to have more time to coach everybody in practice. We got 10 players on your team, 12 players on your team, 15 players on your team, to be able to work all those players in. Whereas in a game, a lot of times, let's be honest, we're just working with whoever the 5 are that are out on the court at that given time. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation and found it beneficial. If you're curious about the Coach's Edge and all the different things that we provide, whether it's showing multiplayer drills for different types of things that coaches may be interested in, with small-sided games, with one-on-one, with shooting. We have a ton of different breakdowns in there. If I click on small-sided games right here, we literally have tons of video breakdowns, whether it's PDFs or you want to get a look at different videos. Let's work on transition scoring, where you can click on these videos and it's really breaking down a variety of skills for players to continue to develop, improve, and work on throughout the course of the season. Ball on the back drill, one of our favorite drills for our young players right here. to work on transition scoring. Lots of fun, lots of fun. Tons of videos and resources within the Coach's Edge that can help you improve yourself as a coach. If you have questions, please let me know, and we're happy to help however we can. Thanks for checking out this video, and get after it today.